Let the boy grow up and get married. The same parents have problems. What happened? नहीं, before marriage he was different. Now he's different. ये होता है. आइए, very beautiful house. आपके घर है. That means you're signing the document and giving it to him. Don't think of the future simply because you should be successful. They are practicing meditation to be peaceful. It will never be possible. They have a great respect for Mangal Sutra. You respect the Mangal Sutra, but not the husband.
नमस्कार, हमारे दर्शकों का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है सनमार्ग के डिजिटल में। आज हमारे साथ जो मौजूद हैं, इन्हें किसी भी तरह से किसी भी परिचय की ज़रूरत नहीं है। आज हमारे साथ मौजूद है सुनंदा जी। हम इनका तहे दिल से स्वागत करते हैं। एंड एक और चीज़ जो हम अपने दर्शकों को बताएंगे कि मैम सुनंदा जी जो हैं वो इंग्लिश ज़्यादा बोलती हैं, तो मेरी दरख्वास्त है हमारे दर्शकों से कि आप सभी कृपया अपना कैप्शन ऑन कर दें ताकि आपको समझने की सहूलियत हो आप सभी। तो उत्कर्ष, you first.
Ma'am, our first question will be with you regarding your organization, Vedanta Academy, the one that you're affiliated with, and the impact of the role of intellect in daily life and how the youth today can go forward with it.
The Vedanta Academy was established by my father and guru, Swami Parthasarathi. This is located close to Mumbai, between Mumbai and Pune. We started in 1988, and the idea in establishing the academy is to reach out to young people like yourselves to learn about our Shastras, our ancient Indian philosophy called Vedanta. Now, Vedanta is a scientific knowledge that talks about human life. There's no subject like that in schools or universities that talk to you about who is this human being? What are we made up of? How do we function in this world? What is the purpose of human life? So these questions are not answered by the subjects that you have in schools and universities, and that is what Vedanta does. And it is an ancient Indian wisdom. So it's not strange to Indians, it should not be. However, it's been forgotten for many, many years. And today, whatever you have is more of the Sanskrit texts, which an average human being cannot understand unless you're familiar with Sanskrit. Sanskrit is an ancient Indian language. It's not spoken today, even in India. But our original texts are all written in Sanskrit. So how to make this knowledge available to the average young person in this country, and not only here, from all over the world. So that was how the Vedanta Academy was formed, with the idea of sharing this knowledge with young people so that you can lead a full life, a complete life. Now, one of the points that you brought up is intellect, which is not known today, not only in India, anywhere in the world. I'll tell you very briefly, very quickly. See, I did say Vedanta talks about the human being. What are you constituted of? What are you made of? What is this human being? Now, a human being, that is any human being, you can be African, American, Japanese, Indian, we're all humans across the globe, okay? Now, a human being is constituted of what you see as the outer personality. This is just a vehicle. This is your body. This is not you. There's something within you, within any human being, which is referred to as the inner personality. So what is the inner personality constituted of? Two faculties. It's very important. Mind or manas and intellect or buddhi. So in total, a human being is constituted of an outer personality, which is the body. Body by itself cannot act. You're sitting here and talking to me, and people out there are listening. These are all actions. But the body by itself cannot act. intellect. It's like your car or vehicle cannot move by itself. Somebody has to drive it. So what is it that makes this body work, act from morning till night, from birth to death? We're constantly acting. Now, it is the mind or intellect or both. So the mind is nothing but all your feelings, your likes, your dislikes. I like this, I don't like this, I want this, I don't want this, desires, demands. All that put together is anybody's mind, manas. Now, superior to the mind, you must understand that, superior, subtler than the mind, in a human being lies your buddhi or intellect. So, if human beings are different from the rest of creation, we are not animals, we're not plants, we're humans. What is so special about being a human being? Even animals have bodies. They have feelings. If you have a pet dog, a lot of feelings. If you leave your pet dog for a week and weekend and go away and come back, it's jumping. When it sees you, you also have feelings. But you don't jump like a dog. You don't do that, You say, buddy, okay, buddy, easy. You say that. Why is that? Why is a human being's behavior different from that of an animal, though you have feelings like the animal? Because you have a buddhi. Animal doesn't have a buddhi. I can keep talking to you about the intellect, but I'm sure you have other questions. I only want you to understand that a human being is gifted. It's a birthday gift. Every human being has an intellect, is born with an intellect. But the fact is, we may never use it. Now, it's a simple thing. A person may be successful, very successful human being, may not be able to relate to his own wife or children. Then you ask why? If he's so successful, why can't he relate to them? Or a doctor, with due respects to a doctor, he could be an alcoholic. If you can help so many people to be healthy, why can't you help yourself? So the intellect, if it's unused, you can't help yourself, you can't help your family to lead a full life, a complete life. That's why the intellect is very important to understand and to use for a human being.
Ma'am, as you said that you have connection with that dog, or people create that connection. We humans generally tend to create certain kind of attachment with peoples or anything. But when that thing goes away, there is a deep sense of loss, or
Yes.
why so?
See, you use the right word. Attachment. See, attachment is hardly understood in the world. People think attachment is necessary, attachment is good. But just to give you an idea, what is attachment in the real sense?
Yes.
Attachment is nothing but love plus selfishness. So I am fond of another person, I love another person because that person caters to me, gives me gifts, material gifts. Oh, I'm so happy. This person cares for me. All my birthdays, definitely a gift. Valentine's Day, I am remembered. This person loves me very much. I love this person very much. Or it could be material gifts. It could be emotional support. Anytime I feel sorry, I just have to call this person. He's there or she's there. Or always agrees with me. If I say something, this is one person who agrees with me. Therefore, I love this person. I have feelings, but it is conditional. So that is why in the beginning of a relationship, each one caters to the other so much that you believe it's love. But after some time, how long can you go on? When that catering stops, then the problems start. So, coming back to your point, when a person is there, you get attached because you're being catered to. So, when the person leaves, the catering is not there. You've become dependent on the catering, and that is what the world understands as love. But the fact remains, when you have attachment, you will suffer in some form. Even if the person is there and you're not catered to, you'll suffer. If the person is not there, again you're not catered to, you'll suffer, right? But if you have true love, it is not conditional, no conditions. One-sidedly you have feeling for the other person. It may sound idealistic, it may sound impossible, but that is true love. So the world does not, if you don't understand, I don't blame you. If your viewers don't understand, I don't blame them.
No,
But because it's not known. It's not known. Love is not known. What is known in the world is attachment, which is selfish love. So same feeling, attachment. Everybody has attachment. See, parent to child. When the children are small, there's so much of love between parent and child. Let the boy grow up and get married. The same parents have problems. What happened? No, before marriage he was different. Now he's different. ये होता है in every family. It happens in a lower income group. It happens in the highest families, the most wealthy families. Same problem. Why is that? Because of attachment. See, earlier, before marriage, the parents are being catered to 100%. After marriage is divided, then the problems start. If it is attachment. If it is love, there will never be a problem. So remember this, attachment is love plus selfishness.
Yeah.
Love is attachment, whatever people feel, take away the selfishness, you've got love. You don't have to change anything. Just remove the what about me factor. What happens to me? If you are able to remove that, you've got love.
So, ma'am, you have talked about love. And whenever we hear this word love, we hear, the same time we are listening the word Krishna. When it comes to love, it also comes with Krishna. So, what Krishna means to you and why people of this world nowadays need Krishna?
See, when you talk about Lord Krishna, it's just one personality that we have high regard for, like Lord Krishna or Lord Ram or Lord Shiva. These are all personalities that have been given or shown to humanity, especially the Indians or the Hindu people. There are other great souls on this planet. It could be Christ or Prophet Muhammad. It could be so many people. They're all human beings. We are also human beings. What is the difference? Of course, you did mention Lord Krishna. But these are all different names of human beings who are extraordinary. Now, what was extraordinary about them is they had what you could call universal love. You mentioned the word love. That's not the only thing they have. They did service. Service, they served humanity. They had what we call universal love. And they gave knowledge. 3 great things they did, all these people. And one outstanding personality is Lord Krishna, as you mentioned. So the difference between an ordinary human being in this world and such extraordinary people is there was no ego or selfishness. They were selfless human beings. Therefore, whatever they communicated to the world was important. Today, there is so much of knowledge, so much of understanding about life and living thanks to these great masters. But coming back to your point about love is what an ordinary human being experiences is preferential attachment, which is only limited. So you could have a preference, let's say, for me and my family. You may not even want your brother's family. You may not even want your neighbors. When I say want, you don't feel for them. Or you could have a preference for my city. I love my city. Anything beyond that, I'm not interested. It's a preference. It's limited. Some people say, my community. I'm very particular about my community's interests. Beyond my community, I'm not interested. You could go up to the nation, my country. I'm interested in my country. Beyond my country, I'm not interested. So what I'm trying to say is, even if we have love, we have what is called preferential attachment, which again can create problems because outside of your circle of interest, you don't care. You could do things that could hurt people outside your preference. But these great masters, like you mentioned, Lord Krishna, what was special about them is they had what you call universal love. There were no demarcations whatsoever. So that's something we ordinary people should learn and emulate from these masters like Lord Krishna.
Ma'am, I would like to know, as we have talked about Ram and Lord Krishna, in recent days in our country, Lord Ram is getting talked about a lot. But what people are actually talking about Ram? क्या उनके मूर्ति को पूज देना सब कुछ है या फिर उनके गुणों को, उनके आचरण को अपने अंदर उतारना ज़रूरी है?
See, all these, what do you call, again, personalities, we have a murti, as you said, and we worship.
Yeah.
Per se, it has no meaning. I'll give an example. Imagine if you salute the national flag every morning, and after that, you do all anti-national activities. Uska matlab kya hai? You go to mandir and pray, and then come out and do all selfish activities, hurt people, have no ethics, no morals, no values, but go to mandir. Now, what difference does it make? See, in India, the lady, at least, they have a great respect for Mangal Sutra. You respect the Mangal Sutra, but not the husband. You fight with the husband. I hope I'm not hurting the ladies. I'm a lady myself, but and I'm also married. So, you pray all sorts of worships and rituals we do, but we don't have good relationships.
Yeah.
So, these personalities stood out, like I mentioned. They were extraordinary human beings. We have to understand what values they had, what were they, what was their character, and try to imbibe those values in our own lives. Otherwise, it has no meaning.
Yeah. मैम, ड्यूरिंग रिसर्च हमें पता चला कि आप 16 या 15 साल के उम्र से ही इस दिशा में आ गए. हम इस बारे में जानना चाहते थे कि उस उम्र में क्या वो चीज़ थी जो आपको इस तरफ अट्रैक्ट की.
See, I had a unique childhood because I was brought up in a ashram. Oh. My father and mother lived. We all lived in an ashram. It was an exception because no families were ever accepted in an ashram. It's all meant for sadhus and sannyasis and brahmacharis. But the master there, Swami Chinmayanji, we were the only family that he ever accepted because my father, who's also my guru, had exceptional interest in the study and research of this great philosophy. So I grew up with in this atmosphere. That alone, I wouldn't say was the reason for my interest, but I always had certain questions which I couldn't find answers in the world outside. Like with friends, for example, as I grew up, became a teenager, I would ask my friends, we're all having a good time, youngsters as we are, but is this permanent? Will this continue? Is there anything we need to learn about life? And all that my friends will say, oh my God, please don't start philosophy. I said, I'm not talking philosophy. I'm asking a genuine question. They would understand, you're coming from ashram, that's why you're asking these questions. I said, no, I would like to know. Are you people thinking about it? It seemed that nobody was interested. They just wanted to have good time, that's all. Nobody was thinking, what is life? What are we supposed to do here? I realized that we come into this world, but one day we go. We take nothing. Where are we going? Where have we come from? Nobody seemed to have any interest on those questions at all. So thank God I had this family and that environment where I found my own friends could not understand what life is all about. I could easily turn to the philosophies that was being taught in the ashram. And of course my father, who did not give me formal education, but in and through all our lifestyles, in the morning, at the breakfast table or wherever, any questions asked, he would willingly answer. And that's how my interest became deeper and deeper. I found more meaning in the philosophy than just living the life of a teenager.
In an extension of the question on your philosophy, I would like to ask, since the world is growing up, there's a huge youth community, and in that sense, how do you think that we can move towards being less selfish, losing our attachments, and going closer to the great figures that you talked about earlier?
See, one of the weaknesses of human beings, weakness, when I say that, see, to be destructive, you don't need tutoring, you don't need teaching. You can automatically become destructive. People take up smoking, alcoholism, gambling, all sorts of things. They don't need to be taught, automatic. To be lazy, not to exercise, to wake up late. Do you need to be taught? No, it's automatic. But to break those habits, to break smoking, to break alcoholism, to break gambling, to bring meaning to your life, to be disciplined, you need effort. So that's why I said a weakness of human beings is to follow the mind. The mind is full of likes and dislikes. This is anybody's mind. See, when you're born, when a baby is born, what is born? Only the body. Nothing else is born. When I say that, the mind and intellect are in an embryo stage. Just as before birth, the baby is not fully grown. That's why it's not born. It's growing. So when it is fully grown, that's when it emerges. But the body alone comes into existence. The mind and intellect are not developed, still in the embryo. That's why anybody can pick up a newborn baby. It won't protest. It doesn't know mother or somebody the baby is close to and a stranger. Doesn't know. But within few months of birth, the baby starts preferring the mother, not the nurse or a stranger. Knows the difference. Starts crying. Then you give back, to the mother. Means what? The mind has developed. Attachment develops automatically. Nobody's teaching the baby. Automatically it's drawn to the mother or somebody who's bringing up the baby. Then the eyes start seeing, like certain things. You'll say, this baby likes this toy. This baby likes something. The likes and dislikes start functioning very powerfully without tutoring. And then when the child comes to the age of about 10 and 11, that's when the intellect starts developing, thinking. So till then, even if a child makes a mistake, you forgive Because you say, bacha hai, child. Why do you forgive? Because it doesn't know what it's doing. Intellect is not there. Later on, if the same child does something, you'll say, no, you're responsible for that. Because by that time, your intellect starts functioning. Now, what happens to an average human being is the mind and senses. Senses means eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. You start liking certain things. Develops automatically. So by the time you come to be a teenager, I like this, I don't like this. I want this, I don't want this. This becomes a motor that makes you act in this world. Like I told you earlier, body is just a vehicle. It cannot act by itself. It has to be prompted by the mind or intellect. Usually it's the mind. Now you may say, what is wrong? My body is acting. I like to do it. So what? Let me do. The problem there is, that's what you're asking. The problem there is, what you like to do may not be the right thing for you to do according to you. The typical example, a diabetic, you understand diabetes, yes, is not supposed to eat sweet. Yes. That too here, Kolkata, the land of sweets. Can you imagine a diabetic patient here? Should not eat sweet. But does the patient follow what is right? This is the question. He knows or she knows you should not eat sweet. Very well. The buddhi knows that. Body picks up the sweet and eats it. Even if you suffer. I'm giving you one example. We are performing millions of actions. Millions. Can you imagine the impact if you do things that are incorrect? How can you reach the state of perfection, human perfection, if you're going to constantly listen to your mind? And that is happening because it's automatic. The development is automatic. Remember I told you about the Vedanta Academy. That is one academy, I believe, in this world that is training young people to use the intellect. It's a 3-year course. I'm not suggesting that everybody who passes the 3-year course is using the intellect. May or may not use, but your training is done. See, like you come out of a medical school, university, you're trained to practice medicine. You may not practice medicine, but you're trained. See, when you come out of a law school, you're trained to be a lawyer. You may not practice law, but you're trained. Similarly here, you're trained to use your intellect in that 3 years. It's the only place where you learn how to always use your intellect so that you make sure your actions are right according to you. Usually we know right from wrong. You know this is not right. Yet you will do it. Because the mind is so powerful, intellect is not developed. So these masters, these great people had very powerful intellects. That's why they could influence the masses. So you talked about Krishna. How many people follow Lord Krishna? How many people follow Lord Rama? How many people follow Christ? How many people follow Prophet Muhammad or Lord Buddha? Why is that? Very powerful. They had very powerful intellects. Apart from love and service. That is why people looked up to them and you had a following. So we've got to use your intellect to get to them.
You mentioned Buddha. Buddha said, "Aap Deepo Bhava." So, is there any Lord or is there any someone? मतलब इस दुनिया में क्या कोई है, कोई और एनर्जी है जिसकी पूजा अर्चना हम कर रहे हैं, या फिर वो जो सारी परमात्मा की शक्ति है और परमात्मा है वो हम ही है, हमारे भीतर ही है?
See, by example, maybe you'll understand. When he said, "You are the self," or "You are the light." There are different words, whether you use the English word self or you said
Aap Deepo Bhava.
Deepo, light. Or you could use the word Atman, which is a Sanskrit word, or Brahman or simply the word God.
God.
We use different words. Some people say, look, I don't believe in God, okay? But there is some power, there is something higher, something not known to us that is present. If somebody says, like what? Sun rises every morning and sets every evening. Who's taking care of it? Don't know. Your eyes are seeing right now. Your ears are hearing right now. Who's taking care of that? Science will take you up to the brain. A brain triggers impulse and then you can see and you can hear. But who is triggering the impulse? See, there are certain questions that even science cannot answer. But it's happening. So, that common denominator, you can say, that light or the self, that reality, truth, power, whatever you want to call it, is there in everyone. And it is common. It's the same. I'll give you an example. Then it'll become clear to you and your listeners, whoever's listening to this. See, a bulb is giving light. When you purchase a bulb, what do you find? It has an outer casement, inner filament is all there, but there is no light. Only when you connect the bulb to the plug, it connects with a unifying entity called electricity. Only then will it give light. Bulb by itself has no light. Electricity by itself has no expression, no light. But the combination brings about an expression called light. Similarly, this body, mind and intellect, they all matter. Science will tell you matter per se has no life. No life. But when matter connects to this light, or you give a name light. One master says light. They're different words, but they mean the same thing. The life principle, you can say, the power, reality, truth, God principle, whatever names you want to give. But there is something beyond the body, mind, and intellect that gives it that ability to express life.
So, ma'am, you have in this till now you have mentioned about mind, and whenever it comes to mind, we try to make it more calmer. So we are advised to do meditation. So nowadays we are seeing that people are very much, we are बहुत चंचल दिमाग है आजकल लोगों का. So हमने वो स्थिरता लाने के लिए, that stability कैसे आती है, and we have, like, I have myself tried to meditate, but there are so many things goes on in the mind, and people get distracted and they stop doing meditation then and there, and they never repeat it again. So how to get out of this, and how can I treat it? Can you please just enlighten us with that?
See, there are two qualities of the mind. It's called chanchala and astira. It is restless and unstable. That is why in the Ramayana, Lord Ram collected monkey forces. Some people say, why monkey forces? Why there were no humans? People ask such questions, It's all symbolic. See, like I told you, the national flag is a piece of cloth with colors. It symbolizes something. It's something beyond the cloth and colors. Similarly, when we talk about Lord Ram or the monkey forces, Sugriva and the rest of them, they're all symbolic. They mean something. Now, we don't understand the meaning. We take it literally. So we forget what was the message of the author. The author writes in a particular way to give a message to humanity. So coming back, Astira and Chanchal, this is the two qualities of the mind that it is similar to a monkey. See, a monkey is like that. Monkey is restless and it jumps from place to place, can't stay in a place. Such a mind that is so Chanchal and Astira, if you give it a point of concentration, which is a mantra in meditation, how can it stay? It cannot. It will jump. You try. I'm glad you said it's difficult. You cannot meditate. When I say you or anybody, you have to practice the disciplines to make you meditative. When your mind is peaceful, then you can meditate. Now people are doing opposite, ulta. They're practicing meditation to be peaceful. It'll never be possible. I'll tell you why. I'm not simply making statements here. Okay, you understand target shooting? Yeah. You know, concentric circles with a bullseye, the center. Suppose you were learning to shoot first time. You're trying to aim and shoot. What do you think will happen? You tell me. Will you hit the target? No. I'm glad you said that. Because it's not possible. It's not possible. You know, they take people away far off places for target shooting, you know, with a rifle. Because you may take the perfect stance, you may aim, you may do all that. The bullet will hit somewhere out. It doesn't hit the target. After long practice, you know, you get very excited. Why? I hit the target, I hit the target. By chance you hit the target. Second time you do, it may not hit. So it takes weeks, perhaps months by practice that you take aim and hit the point that you intend hitting, which is the target. Then the training is to hit bullseye. You tell me, how often can you hit the bullseye when you shoot? Almost impossible. Zero. Almost. You're understanding this? Okay. Now you come back. To be able to hit the target is equivalent to concentrate. The mind has to concentrate on the present job. Now you are, asking questions. The mind should be here. It should not go somewhere for a chakkar. Now as we are talking, either we'll go one chakkar and come back. Most people are not able to concentrate. More than 5-10 minutes, you cannot keep the mind here. It goes somewhere. Will this be a success? Will the listeners listen? Were the questions covered? Did my colleagues do well? All sorts of thoughts may come as you are asking me questions. It's possible. Because the concentration is not on question and answer. May not be there. It'll go somewhere. Come back. So if you're not able to hit the target, how can you hit bullseye? Meditation is compared to hitting the bullseye. So first of all, the training should be concentration. Are you able to concentrate on your job? Are you able to concentrate at office or at home? It could be anywhere, like we're here. See, when I'm talking to you, I'm thinking of what are your questions? How can I best answer? I'm not thinking of anything else. So this is concentration. Then I can make sense in the answers. Otherwise, I'll also go for a chakkar and you will also say, thank you very much, very nice talking to you, but the listeners will not be benefited by our talk at all. Unless I'm focused on what was your question, have I answered your question? That's concentration. So concentration is in a field of thought. Understand? Your field of thoughts. We are talking philosophy. We're not talking business. We're not talking computers. We're not talking legal matters. We're talking philosophy. So this is the field. If we are not able to remain in this field of thoughts, then we are not concentrating. So unless we practice concentration, target shooting, and by months and years of such practice, you qualify to aim and try bullseye. That too, it may not happen. So you see how meditation is not a practice. What you need to practice is discipline. Discipline at the physical level, which I'm not explaining, I'm just stating it. You got 3 equipments, body, mind and intellect. So you have to practice the disciplines for the body, which is called karma yoga. Karma yoga, path of action. For the mind, a bhakti yoga, or the path of devotion. For the intellect, jnana yoga, or the path of knowledge. If you practice these 3 disciplines, then you qualify. It's a target shooting. Then you qualify to sit in the seat of meditation. What happens when you practice the disciplines is your desires go on reducing. What disturbs the mind, what makes it unsteady and restless are desires. I must do this, I must do that, I must get this done, I must do that. It goes on. The desires disturb concentration. So when you get rid of desires, that doesn't happen overnight. By the disciplines, your desires are reduced. When your desires are reduced, your mind is available. And when the mind is available, you are qualified to meditate. And meditation is only to realize yourself. You know that light you say, you use the word light, but it's the self in you, the God principle in you. That's the final stage to meditate and realize God.
Okay, so we will take few questions. I guess Abhinav and Utkarsh both have questions.
For my final question, really, I would like to ask you, what is the relationship between the texts of Hinduism, that we call it as such, the Bhagavad Gita, and your philosophy, and how that connects your philosophy with duty, with dharma, things like that?
I wouldn't use the word Hinduism because the Bhagavad Gita is a very universal text, provided you approach it scientifically. It is a scientific text. I did tell you Vedanta is a science. It is meant for all humans. You can follow whatever religion you want. That's your wish. You can be from any nationality. It doesn't make a difference. You can be from any race. It doesn't make a difference. First and last, you're a human being. And what we are discussing is, what does it take to be a human being? Okay? And you use the word dharma. See, first of all, your real dharma is to find yourself. Dharma means yourself, your true nature. For example, the dharma of sugar is sweetness. That is its real nature. You can never have a sample of bitter sugar. Not possible. Why? That's not its dharma. The dharma of fire is heat. You can't have a sample, you can never have a sample of cold fire. Not possible. Because that is not its dharma. In that sense, what is your dharma? What is my dharma as human being? We don't know. So a text like the Bhagavad Gita or the Vedanta philosophy, in simple language, introduces yourself to your real self, your real dharma. That is the main message of the Bhagavad Gita or the Vedanta philosophy. That is why Vedanta, the word, Sanskrit word, Vedanta, means Veda Ant, Vedanta, end of knowledge. And the general understanding is knowledge can go on. The more you learn, the more you need to learn. It never ends. Then why do we say this ends? Because it ends with knowing who you are. That is your real dharma. But while you are seeking your real dharma, you have obligations in the world. You could be the child of your parents, or the parent of your child, or your official commitments, national commitments, whatever your commitments are, your duties are, you have to do. That is also your dharma. While you live in this world, how many of us fulfill that? we fail. So what the Gita says is the primary dharma is to find yourself. But while you're doing it, you better make sure you fulfill your duties and obligations in this world.
You talk about Gita. In Gita, there is karm karo, phal ki chinta mat karo. But in this materialistic world where everything is run by economy and money, how can we not think about the phal?
See, why they're saying don't think of the fruit.
Yeah.
Do what you have to do. Because, simple, mind has to concentrate on the action. While you're performing the action, what is, simple language, what is success? I'm not asking you, I'm just posing a question. What is success? Success is a result. Comes in the future. What is you can say result, or you can say effect. It's an effect. Success is a result or an effect. What is the cause? Cause is right action. Example, a student writes the exam well. That is the cause. What is the effect? Success, first class. Student does not write exam well. Cause. What is the effect? Failure. Now, what we must understand is the writing of the exam itself metamorphoses, becomes the future result. It's not like to write the exam now and something happens and then you know whether you're a success or failure. While you're writing only, you're a success or failure. You come to know of it later. Understand? So they're saying, why are you thinking of that? Why are you thinking of success or failure while you're writing? Because unless you write properly, you cannot be successful. So a lot of people write the exam and then go for prayer. As if something's going to happen. Whatever you've done, finished. That itself is success or failure in the future. So what the Gita is saying, don't worry about that. When you are writing your exam, think of the question, see the question, write the answer. See the question, write the answer. Don't think, will I get a first class? Will I fail? Will I get a first class? Will I fail? You're not writing. Unless you write now, how can you find success? So it is a scientific technique not to be distracted by future result while you're engaged in present action. This is what happens to anybody, whether it's business, profession, or even sport. See, when you're playing a game, just watch the ball coming and treat it as it should be treated. Will I get 100 if the cricketer thinks? He may be bowled. He may be caught. Because he's not handling the ball. He's thinking of the result. That's why they say, don't think of that. Watch the ball and handle it as it comes. Then your actions are perfect. If your actions are perfect, automatically it becomes success. If your actions are imperfect, automatically it's a failure. So that's why it's a practical way of saying, don't think of the future, simply because you should be successful.
And connected to that, we have in Ramcharitmanas, Hoi Soi Jo Ram Rachi Rakha. That means, as you know, कि भगवान ने जो लिख दिया है वही होगा, विधाता ने जो लिख दिया वही हो. तो क्या सारी चीज़ें लिखी जा चुकी हैं? तो ये कोशिश, ये प्रयास क्यों कर रहे हैं हम?
There are two aspects. We're talking about destiny.
Yeah.
लिखा है.
हाँ जी.
You only have written that. When we say Lord has written, we do not attribute anything, any achievement to ourselves, good or bad. In that sense, we are taught not to have that egoistic feeling. That's all. That's why we attribute everything. Sab kuch hai tera, we say that. And then you have a bank balance, no? That is not Bhagwan's. No. What is the meaning? It's not factual, it is an attitude. So when a guest comes to your home, you say, "Aye, aye, very beautiful house." "Aapke ghar hai?" That means you're signing the document and giving it to him. So it's an attitude. So don't take it literally. So when they say likha hai, don't take it literally. You are the architect of your fortune. You are the architect of your misfortune. The God principle only enables you to do both, good or bad. It's like, okay, petrol is responsible for movement in all vehicles. One vehicle meets with an accident, another vehicle goes home safe. What has petrol got to do with that? It's the driver. But without petrol, accident also cannot happen, safe driving also cannot happen. Now, petrol is like the God principle. Without the God principle, you cannot achieve anything. But to attribute, say suppose you have an accident, you can't go to the petrol bunk and say, "Hey, you gave me accident petrol." Petrol is not responsible for the accident. Or you go home and open the petrol tank, "Thank you for bringing me safely home." It's absurd. But without petrol, you couldn't have gone home safely. But to attribute it to petrol is absurd. It's how you drive it. Similarly, your life, you are the architect. You can make a misery out of your life. You can make a glory out of your life. Don't blame God. Blame yourself. So likha hai means with reference to the past, you're a victim, you're a product. See, suppose a person is an illiterate. Because this day backward, he has not studied. He's an illiterate. Can such a person become a literate? Yes. Provided he starts studying from today onwards. So just because he's an illiterate doesn't mean he'll continue to be illiterate. It's in your hands. Suppose you have not got enough money today. Will I continue not to have money tomorrow? Depends on what you do. If you are willing to put in work, time will come when you'll have it. But if you're not willing to put in work, you will continue. So if I were to define what is my future, what is your future, anybody's future, if you have to predict, this is the definition of future. Future is a continuation of the past, because you can't forget what all you have done this day backward. You've done good, you've done bad. वो सब लिखा है. It's an accounting system. Somewhere, I don't know where. It's like a bank balance, you know. You go to a bank manager and say, "Why is my bank balance so low?" Say, "1 minute, sir." He'll give you a statement. What is your statement? Debit, 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 1 credit. Credit. Debit, 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 debit. Then you're asking, why is my bank balance low? How many debits? Hardly any credit. So today your bank balance is low because of all the debits, very few credits. Tomorrow will my bank balance be high? Depends on putting credit. So likha hai ke matlab kya hai? Today it is written because you can't change the past, but you can change your future. So your future, anybody's future, is a continuation of the past modified in the present. Meaning plus or minus. You can do good, you can do bad. So what you are today, you can't change. But what you is the future, what you want to be in the future is in your hands, is in everybody's hands. And the God principle only gives you the ability to do good or bad. Are people not committing crimes?
Yes.
Same God principle as anybody. Petrol, accidents. Same petrol can cause accident, but you don't blame petrol for the accident. It's a driver. So similarly, all good actions are being performed. It's the life principle that enables you to perform the right actions, but you are consciously doing it.
अच्छा गुरु, मैं एक क्वेश्चन था कि वेदांत में क्या एस्ट्रोलॉजी और हाथ देखने की और ये सारी चीज़ें कॉन्सेप्ट हैं या ये एक अलग?
See, I don't. Astrology is a science, no doubt, but it has no direct relationship with what you perform. You are independent. You have the power to do what you want to do. It does not depend on the stars. You can change your life anytime. That's the power of a human being. You have a choice. So people go and look at other aspects because they don't want to perform actions. They don't want to put in effort. So you want to know now, will I be successful or not? You don't want to work, but you are interested in the future. Anybody who's interested in action, in work, will not be worried about the result. So the whole idea of what the philosophy says is, do your part and do it well. Results are bound to come. Why worry about the future? Don't worry about it. If you do your actions well, you won't worry. If you don't, then you're worried. Will I pass? Will I fail? Will I pass? Will I fail? Will I be successful? Will I not be? Will I get the job? Will I not get the job? And you didn't concentrate on the interview. You didn't concentrate on what the people were asking. So naturally, you don't create an impression. Chances are you won't get it. So instead of that, concentrate on what you have to do moment to moment. Yes, sometimes people want you, sometimes they don't want you. So what? It's not your failure. It's just that it's not the right place, it's not the right time. So you keep looking for the right position and right action. That's about all. But don't gauge yourself by that. All the time there's a worry. Will I be successful? Will I be successful? And that itself drains your energy. You're not able to think clearly, not able to act properly. So don't worry about the future. Concentrate on what you have to do. Then you don't have to worry about the stars or any, prophecies, what will happen to you by anybody. You are your own judge. Don't worry about others. Okay?
Thank you so much, ma'am. We have taken so much time. So, for my viewers, do not forget to subscribe our channel and do give us like and give your comment. It's very important for us. Keep watching Sanmarg. So, yeah, I'm coordinating.
What is all this?
This is just a token of love.
Thank you.
Sanmarg. Peace.
Thank you so much. Thank you.